What's going on, you crazy 76ers fanatics? Thanks for stopping back in for another daily pod with your daily 76er information. Now, if you haven't been keeping up, let me get you up to speed. This offseason has been fireworks for the 76er team. First off, they did use the third overall pick in this year's draft to draft B.J. Edgecombe. And then not only that, they have already started shifting the franchise from a Joel Embiid-led team to a Tyrese Maxey-led franchise. And the way it's looking so far, Tyrese Maxey is a stellar leader. He's already putting the work in his own time out in LA with workout guru and point guard specialist Chris Johnson. You can check out all their videos on YouTube, all their workouts. Tyrese is adding multiple and different facets to his games we haven't seen before that we will be highlighting later. But he's also in the gym with the young guys for this team. You guys can go to Harrison Grimm Twitter and see Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Johnny Brome, Dario Barlow, BJ Edgecombe, Jabari Walker, Justin Edwards. I mean, all the young guys, second round picks from last year, this year, two-way guys from last year, this year, the first round picks from each of the most recent years. He's in the gym with all the young guys, building a foundation, putting the work in early at the Sixer facility. And if you know Tyrese Maxey, he's a workout juggernaut who puts in not one a day, not two a day, but 3 a day workouts. And in one of those workouts, he's making sure he's building trust, he's building comfortability, and he's building an understanding of not only these young guys' games, but who these young guys are as people. Because in this NBA, what we've seen from last season, it's all about the foundation. The Indiana Pacers were building that foundation from seasons before. The Oklahoma City Thunder have built that foundation from seasons before. Tyrese Maxey, the leader of this team, the face of the franchise of this team, is building a foundation with the young guys, and they're going to be building a younger, healthier core. Now, obviously, Jared McCain being there, B.J. Edgecombe being there, Justin Edwards being there, and all the other two-way guys we named before, that is a great thing that you want to see. And hopefully, if they can build enough chemistry in this offseason to have one of the most effective and efficient offense or defense of next season, I'd love to see how the offseason led into this season's success. That would be a great story to tell. Fairy tales can come true. But before we tell those fairy tales, the story ain't over for the old guys on this team. The story is not over for the older players on this team. Where did the old players fit on this team? Well, what you can expect from the young guys, that's effort, energy, hustle. But from the old guys, you need maturity. You need consistency. You need reliability. You need Joel Embiid to be what Joel Embiid was. If that's not going to be an MVP, you need close to it, half of it. When Joel Embiid was playing with a knee brace, a face mask last season, he was still one of the most effective and efficient players in the NBA. I mean, that Joel Embiid is still an all-star in this league. Kyle Lowry was also a former champion. I need him to bring championship consistency, championship work ethic, and championship mentorship. Not necessarily looking for Kyle Lowry to be anything more than a locker room voice and a second on-court coach. Paul George. You need Paul George to be what Paul George is going to be, and that's consistent and efficient. If Paul George is going to give you 15 a game, it's got to be an efficient 15. Not missing the open shots, knocking those down. If the contested jumpers aren't falling, that's okay. We can pass those to Jared McCain. But you need maturity from these old guys because the young guys are going to bring the spunk. They're going to bring the energy. Hopefully they're attacking the fast break, attacking the glass with those young legs and the energy and the hustle and just the excitement to play basketball. But the older guys, you just need efficiency, consistency, and maturity, not only in that locker room but on that court. Not missing their assignments, not blaming, making sure they are also giving all of their energy defensively, but most importantly, filling their roles completely because each older player, each veteran on this team has a different role to fill, and they all have championship caliber ingredients and intangibles. Joel Embiid, a former MVP. Kyle Lowry, a former champion. Paul George, a multiple-time All-Star. These are some of the greatest veterans to have on a team with a bunch of young players. The question is, which of these players will be playing? I saw something that was interesting. It was on a NBA University. I think you can find it on NBA University. The Sixers used 5 lineups the most last year. 5 lineups the most last year. Some of these lineups are just terrible. I'm talking -3, -14, -10. I mean, some of these lineups are absolutely like disgusting. I don't want to see them again. But one of these lineups is potentially one of the best lineups in the NBA. Now, obviously, the players on this lineup no longer with the team, but the efficiency and the play style, I think we can still use that and apply that with the roster that is currently constructed in Philadelphia. Now, they went 1 point guard, 3 wings, and 1 big. 1 point guard, 3 wings, and 1 big. And that lineup was plus 25, meaning they were outscoring other teams by a 25-point differential. The players in that lineup: Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Caleb Martin, former Sixer, Kelly Oubre, and Gershon Yabusele. 2 out of those 3 players are no longer with this team. But guys, if you replace Gershon Yabusele with Joel Embiid, is that not an upgrade? I mean, honestly, I love Gershon Yabusele. I love the effort. I love the gorilla. But replacing him with Joel Embiid in that lineup is for sure an upgrade. And if you need another wing, because again, it was 1 guard, 3 wings, 1 center, Kelly Oubre, Paul George, Justin Edwards? Justin Edwards played great. He could be another wing, another forward, another stretch forward. That's a pretty good lineup. Paul George slides to the 2. He can play big, long, extended perimeter defense, slide to the 2, not forcing a rebound. He can get out on the fast break more. Kelly Oubre can crash the glass. Justin Edwards will stretch the floor and be that defensive slider, defensive energy that you need from a young guy. Tyrese Maxey still being Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Does that lineup not improve? That seems to be a lineup that, if you're going to look for Sixer success, future success, that may be one of the best. Another lineup they had, which was 0 for 0, which means they didn't outscore anyone, but they didn't get outscored by anyone. This lineup is 2 guards, 2 wings, 1 center. It's Tyrese Maxey, Eric Gordon, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, and Gershon Yabusele. Obviously, Gershon Yabusele no longer with his team, so any lineup that he's a part of, any lineup that he's in, you got to replace him with maybe Adem Bona. If these lineups are strictly succeeding on energy, hustle, effort, speed, and pace of play, Gershon Yabusele replaced with a second-year sophomore jump, Adem Bona, may be able to keep these plus-minus possession differentials similar or the same. And of course, Eric Gordon still on the team, but I would rather replace Eric Gordon with Jared McCain. So imagine a Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, Adem Bona, Joel Embiid. These lineups. I don't think you have a 0 for 0 net possession differential. I think these are positive lineups. I think if you trace Gershon Yabusele in that first one with Gershon and Caleb Martin, with maybe again Jared McCain, maybe again BJ Edgecombe, or if he finally decides to sign Quentin Grimes, is a perfect plug and play for any lineup this Sixer team had success with last year. I mean it. Caleb Martin could not hit an open shot. Caleb Martin only made inconsistent, sporadic threes late into the shot clock, shots that you didn't want him to take. Those are the ones he decided to make. If Quentin Grimes decides to sign, you're not even playing chess, checkers, or Tetris with these pieces. You insert Quentin Grimes next to Tyrese Maxey, next to Paul George, next to Kelly Oubre, and you find a center that's going to be healthy, that's going to be competent, that's going to be defensive reliable, and you tell these guys to rip, run, and have fun. You're going to get a lot of threes up, a lot of jumpers, and then none of these guys can be guarded one-on-one. None of these guys can be guarded off of the catch, because if they're coming downhill off the cut, hopefully Paul George has enough juice in his legs left to still be dangerous off the catch and into the cut. Guys, these Sixer teams are going to be so dominant, so dangerous if Quentin Grimes does decide to sign. That's one big if. And the other big if is if Paul George decides to be Paul George. Now, guys, you saw it the whole time. How is he going to get to Paul George? Guys, I talked about the work these young guys are putting in to get better. Joel Embiid, as long as we know, is spending 24 hours a day in physical therapy. Okay, he's locked in the hyperbolic time chamber until that knee comes right and he can start kicking like Goku. Paul George was at Jamie Foxx's birthday party. I didn't know Paul George and Jamie Foxx were boys like that, but Paul George was in or at Jamie Foxx's birthday party the same day the young Sixers were in the locker room flicking up, putting work in. If Paul George can be Paul George, he will be the best player for this Philadelphia 76ers team because he can glue any hole this team has. You need shooting, he should do that. You need defense, he's reliable to do that. You need rebounding, he's tall enough and competent to do that. You need a free throw player, a free throw scorer. You need someone who can knock it down on technicals, on free throws. He's got that too, if his legs still got the juice. Hopefully Paul George is focused in on winning, on being consistent, on becoming a champion and being what everything he said he was going to be, which was one of the greatest players of all time once he signed to Philadelphia. He said he was going to put the work in, guys, but being in Jamie Foxx's birthday party, the same day these Philadelphia 76ers, young guys, are putting work in for the next season, I'm getting frustrated, guys. I'm losing it all. You know what, guys? We can talk more about Paul George, what impact he'll have next season, and for what reason, why would you choose a Jamie Foxx birthday party when you can be in Philadelphia putting work in with the young guys getting ready for next season if you're serious about it, if you're really trying to do it. And rumor is he's not going to be ready for training camp. Who knows where Paul George's commitment is? We'll talk about that stuff later, guys. But thanks for tuning in for another. We got daily pods, daily apps, and a daily conversation for all of your Sixer information. I'm keeping you up to date, guys, and have a great day.